naked in front of my high school bullies covered in spiders with nothing but hot milk in a 97-degree room? Yes, I'm in. That's how isolated I am. This is We Have Concerns. Hi, Jeff Canada.
Hi, Anthony Carboni.
Hello, concerned citizens.
Anthony, the dinosaurs.
The TV show or the animals based on the TV show?
The animals based on the TV. Not the mama. I'm not talking about the mama.
Yeah.
Not the mama.
What about the baby? Gotta love the baby.
Gotta love the baby. They don't, the dinosaurs all died. The dinosaurs, they all died. I don't know if you're aware of this.
Of COVID this year?
They all died. No.
Jesus, I was going to say, did this thing take dinosaurs from us too?
Oh, God.
It's taken so much already.
That was COVID 2 instead of 19. That's a terrible joke. Why? Why did the dinosaurs go extinct? Why? Why do you? What is your understanding of why the dinosaurs went extinct? My understanding of
why the dinosaurs went extinct, we think that perhaps there was a large impact of some kind from space, kicked up a bunch of dust, caused basically the equivalent of an all natural nuclear winter. Changed the environment, changed everything, and they died off from not being able to live in the environment. Yeah,
3/4 of all life on the planet went extinct in this event. Now, the thing I was wondering if you were going to say, and that a lot of people say, is that an asteroid hit the Earth, which is still possible. But there is a new paper, a new research paper that was put out just recently. There's an article.
I think the impact was a spaceship. That's why I didn't say asteroid.
You think there's aliens?
Yeah.
You think the aliens killed the dinosaurs?
Not on purpose. I think they were driving drunk.
It was like a joyriding situation.
It was a DUI.
Oh man.
Yeah.
It was an SUI.
Spacing while intoxicated. Spacing under the influence.
Yeah. Never do that. Never. Aliens don't let aliens, Anthony. That's the rule.
WUI, warping under the influence.
There you go.
That's what they did.
Wormholing under the influence. Yes. No, a lot of people say asteroid hit the Earth. We thought for a long time that an asteroid is responsible. There's a new paper that was just published. This is an article in Ars Technica that was just published a couple of days ago about this paper that cobbles together a bunch of interesting research and some new statistical analysis and comes up with a pretty cohesive theory as to what caused that extinction event on Earth 66 million years ago. So we know about 66 million years ago, 3/4 of all plant life, animal species, and the dinosaurs all went extinct. And for a long time in the early 2000s, even since 1980, basically scientists thought that it was an asteroid. But this new paper posits that it's much more likely it was a comet that hit the Earth. This landed in Chicxulub, Mexico. We're fairly confident that the Chicxulub crater that was discovered in Mexico is the impact site of this thing that caused that event. Back in 2016, there was a drilling project led by the International Ocean Discovery Program that drilled down in the Chicxulub crater and actually found the ring, the sedimentary ring that shows some evidence as to the time period when this happened. And
was James Cameron in there?
They found James Cameron.
Was James Cameron in this? He was in the submarine?
He was in the submarine. He was working on Avatar 2. And they got to him and his first words were, "I'm going to have to delay this thing again.
I just discovered how the dinosaurs went extinct. I got to delay Avatar 2. I got to delay. He has submarines, right? We've talked about this.
Yeah, he's got a fleet.
He's got a fleet of submarines with IMAX cameras.
Yeah. Because what do you do if you've got all the money in your James Cameron?
That's what he does. He goes down in submarines. He hires scientists and he goes down in submarines and he looks for shit. That's his hobby. This is like
pretty cool hobby.
This is like in the 16 and 1700s when you read about like Little Lord Fauntleroy, all these fucking rich dudes who are just like, I don't know what to do because I live on a manor and I'm landed gentry, so I never have to do anything again. I guess I'll just drink mercury and keep a journal.
Yeah.
Like, and that
Might
was
as
what,
well.
like, yeah.
All I have is free time and infinite resources. So this is what I'll do, I guess.
Every time there's a fucking Terminator movie on TBS, James Cameron gets a check, and he just like, when you've got that money, have you ever seen how much they show a Terminator on the Turner networks?
Oh, he's got TBS money.
He's got that TBS money in addition to all the other money that he has. I don't know, like, well, I'll tell you what, it makes sense that this happened in 2016 because that was pre-Endgame. Endgame came. And it took away all his Avatar money. The way Hollywood works is
the
when you are
movie.
the number one movie
like
gets all the checks.
Scheme. It's a giant pyramid scheme. Every other movie has to pay up. And in order to make a movie, basically what happens in Hollywood is you go to someone's house on a Saturday afternoon and they show you all the movies in little resealable containers.
Yeah.
And you can buy a new movie, but you got to pay. You got to pay up. You got to pay up.
That's why the Duplass brothers have to make 57 movies a year.
That's right.
Because they keep making all these little movies. They keep trying to trade up. So he went down in 2016, James Cameron, and he found out like how the dinosaurs went extinct. And then fucking Kevin Feige comes, takes all the money away.
Yeah.
James Cameron found this sedimentary layer, but then he was never able to go back down. He doesn't have that money anymore. He doesn't have submarine money. Kevin Feige has it, but he doesn't use it on submarine research. He just buys old Star Wars toys.
It's basically the same price.
It's the same price. You could have a submarine, or you could have that. You could have the Hasbro Star Destroyer.
You can have Obi-Wan with the little sliding up his arm.
Yeah, nothing up my sleeve. Wang. They all had cool stiff collars.
Oh, so
really
stiff.
Really
and
starched
elbows.
collars.
Stiff elbows as well.
So anyway, James Cameron, if anybody has any money, we're starting an Indiegogo for James Cameron so he can get back into the submarines.
We're starting a pyramid scheme for James Cameron. To be clear, I don't believe the Chicxulub crater in Mexico is underwater. I don't want to mislead people. I think it is a dry crater, but
he was in a drill.
He was in a drill.
Mole Man style.
This is not a drill. The crater is 93 miles wide and 12 miles deep. That's how hard this comet hit the Earth. It says, in fact, they found the sedimentary layer that shows that the Earth was subject to immense pressure over the period of minutes. So, like, they see this moment in time that's fused into the rock, and it said it's been estimated that the impact would have released energy over 1 billion times higher than the atomic bombs that were dropped on Hiroshima and Nagasaki.
Dinosaur dropped a giant pot of chili.
Dropping bombs, dude. Billion times the energy. That's incredible, right? And
that
it also
is
said
wild.
this impactor, what they call the Chicxulub impactor. The Chicxulub impactor struck, they said, at the worst possible angle to cause the maximum amount of damage.
Or the best possible angle.
Yeah. I mean, it depends on your dinosaur perspective,
it depends
right?
on if you're a dinosaur or a human looking back. Do you know what I mean? Like, here's what I'm saying, scientists. Isn't it kind of cool that it hit at that angle? Like, for us?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I'm sure the guy who discovered that was like, are you kidding me? This is the coolest thing ever.
Yeah.
It hit the one angle that would cause the most damage.
The one angle that would cause the extinction of 75% of life on the planet, thereby allowing the rise of human beings. It's not the worst possible angle.
Yeah. Well, for human beings, it worked out pretty well.
It's only the worst possible angle if you're this nerd who's like,
who loves dinosaurs.
Who's like, oh no, that's the worst possible angle for the dinosaurs. And it's like, hey, focus up, buddy. You're not a dinosaur.
Yeah. We could all been reptile people, you know?
We could have been in Theodore Rex. Nobody
Yeah.
wants to be in Theodore Rex. Don't even look up Theodore Rex.
Don't.
Don't look it up.
It's a waste of everyone's time.
It's a waste of everyone's time, especially Whoopi Goldberg's.
So here's the new information. We knew all that stuff way back in 2016. We knew all that stuff. We knew that this impactor that hit Mexico could have been up to 50 miles wide.
That's insane.
It is. Yeah, it's just an enormous thing. And for a long time, we thought it's an asteroid from the asteroid belt between Mars and Jupiter. We think that's where scientists thought this thing originated. Okay. Well, it turns out this new paper, which, by the way, is penned by two co-authors, two scientists,
two
one of which is named
in a trench coat.
Two dinosaurs. Theodore Rex and Guy Ceratops is his name. I
don't know. What's weird is the two of them are on each other's shoulders in a trench coat, but they are still taking co-authorship.
Yeah. They still want to be referred to as individuals. Yeah,
it's
very strange.
We don't yuck anybody's yum here.
They don't. Yeah. They also, not large brains, evidently, the dinosaurs. No, the co-authors.
Large enough to commit fraud.
Right. Yeah, but anybody can do that. We've seen that.
That's
I lived
true.
through 2020. One of these co-authors is a guy by the name of Amir Siraj. He is an undergraduate. He's a young kid. He's an undergraduate in astrophysics at Harvard. This is like some kid who basically figured it out with his professor. Anyway,
that's why he said worst angle. Because he's just a young antisocial little kid.
He's like Bill and Ted over here.
Yeah.
Anyway, so here's what the paper posits. It says that this was not likely to have been an asteroid. Is much more likely to have been a comet. Okay, so why do they think this? Well, it turns out that the material that we know the impactor was composed of is very, very rare in asteroids and much more common in comets that are from the Oort cloud. Most comets that we think about are from the Oort cloud. Yeah. So these are carbonaceous chondrite is the name of the material that doesn't.
That's also
really
the name of one of the football players in Key and Peele.
I'm carbonaceous chondrite. Yeah, it's good.
It's not mine. I'm not Key or Peele.
No, yeah. Well, we're happy to piggyback on somebody else's jokes.
Yeah, what if instead of jokes today, I just made references, which are the poor man's jokes?
Yeah, you just reference other people's jokes.
I'm just referencing other things today. Can I listen? I'm gonna let everything drop for a little bit. Yeah, then you're just Seth MacFarlane. But yeah. I'm just gonna let everything drop for a second. It's been a long week. Week.
I get it. That's all right.
So maybe it's just a lot of references. Maybe it's just like, hey, remember this.
You know
Only
what?
90s kids will understand,
We'll let Key and Peele do the heavy lifting this week. It's fine. We can do it. That's all right.
God, those two can do anything.
Carbonaceous chondrite doesn't exist on Earth, doesn't really appear on Earth, but it does appear in maybe 10% of asteroids, much more common much more common in comets. So that points to the fact that it might be a comet. And then they did some mathematical models of what would have caused this. And it turns out that there is this phenomenon that a comet can go into Jupiter's orbit, flung toward the sun and get close to the sun's gravitational force. Mm-hmm. And they call those things sun grazers, which is also going to be the next bad guy in my next D&D campaign, Sun Grazer, because that's awesome. It sounds like a name.
Yeah, it sounds like a cool 90s cartoon about kids who are going to save the environment.
The Sun Grazers. Yeah.
So wait,
They found a ring in the woods. The 5 of them put their hands together and they became the Sun Grazers.
Unfortunately, when they become the Sun Grazer, even though the Sun Grazer has a mind of its own, all 5 of their consciousnesses are trapped inside the Sun Grazer.
That's
and they're
right.
forced to watch everything the Sun Grazer does. Helpless.
Helplessly, as the Sun Grazer lays waste to the clouds, to the evil cumulus man.
Now, I got a dumb question because I'm a dummy. Here's what it is. Oort cloud, mostly icy objects.
Right.
An object from the Oort cloud gets flung around Jupiter towards the sun, becomes a sun grazer. How big did this thing have to be to kind of slingshot around the sun and then come down to Earth and hit with a 50-mile impact if it's made of ice?
Yeah, massive. It's massive, right? And you would think this article specifically points to what you are bringing up right now, which is you think what happens when it gets close to the sun is it starts to melt.
Yeah.
That's not actually what happens. What happens is this thing is so big, it's so big that the front end of it hits the gravitational pull of the sun at a higher rate than the back end of it. So it has higher gravity weighing down on it in the front than in the back, and that serves to literally rip it apart.
And send the icy part flying back out.
Exactly. So it like catapults into smaller pieces that get slingshotted back out into the solar system, out back toward Earth. It hits into Mexico, causing this massive extinction event.
That's wild.
They call that a tidal force, because if you can imagine like the tides, standing on a beach and the wave comes and hits your ankles and then you feel that pull of the wave to pull you back into the sea. That's kind of the same thing here, is that part of the comet is being pulled toward the sun at a higher rate than the back part of the comet, and it literally just rips it in half or in multiple pieces.
So do they say how big they think this thing was before it hit the Earth? Because it hit at 50 miles. So a ton of it had to have melted off just entering into the Earth's atmosphere.
Right. Because
of the heat and the friction and the momentum and all that. Do they say anything about how big it was before it got torn up?
No, they don't have any way to estimate that, but you can imagine it was quite large.
It was bigger than 50 miles. We know that.
Yeah. Well, 50 miles, like you said, is just one tiny piece of this thing that got ripped into multiple pieces. And it had to be much bigger than that because it shrinks on the way in through the atmosphere. So, this thing was quite large. And we know that the asteroid belt that we think this thing came from back when we thought it was an asteroid, the Baptisma family of asteroids, which is that section of asteroids between Mars and Jupiter, that we have determined that asteroid belt was created 160 million years ago. Mm-hmm. And it turns out that the timing doesn't work out. So in order to have the material that we know it hit the Earth, be from that section of the cosmos, the timing doesn't work out. So they think, A, it's not likely that it's an asteroid from where we thought it was. B, it's not likely it's an asteroid because fewer asteroids are made of the stuff that hit us. And we see that comets can do this unique behavior that would explain how it would get to Earth. So putting all of that stuff together, they go, it was probably a comet and it probably happened like this. And this type of thing happens about once every 170,000 years, between 170 and 250,000 years. So it's very common, right? Cosmologically speaking.
Yeah. That's fascinating.
Yeah.
Wow. My biggest thing about this and about all this, something that I love about humanity as a whole, God damn, do we love dinosaurs? And God damn, do we want every piece of information surrounding dinosaurs and their rise and fall that we have to be as accurate as possible. And I love that about us.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, I totally understand it. First, dinosaurs look cool. Like the idea that there's these giant things that used to be here that aren't is just automatically captures the imagination. But imagine if you like just woke up in an apartment, you know, and this is the first time you've seen this apartment. You woke up and then somebody says like 3 weeks ago, there was somebody else in this apartment, but they're not here anymore. You'd be like, well, what the fuck happened to that person? You know, what the fuck happened? I think that's the story of human beings.
No one saw them move out.
Yeah, no one saw them move out. We found their bones here.
Well, okay, now we know what happened. They died. I don't want to live in this apartment. This analogy is actually falling apart, and it's creepier and creepier the farther we go. What you're trying to tell me is that somebody died of unknown causes in my apartment.
Yeah, and there's a hole in the floorboards.
Nope.
It's big. Something came through the window, maybe.
Maybe. Maybe. Are there locks on the window? Have you checked?
There were locks on the window, but I don't know.
What do you mean were?
66 million years ago, there were locks on the windows.
I like the idea of this landlord trying to pretend to be an archaeologist. Just this forensic scientist that's just like, isn't it fascinating? No, you're trying to tell me somebody died here. And that the murderer might come back.
I'm not just saying somebody died here. I'm saying a lot of people died here. A lot.
An entire family. That family line is gone.
75% of everything that was living here died.
Wait, how many things were living here?
A lot. There was a lot of things.
This is a one bedroom.
Yeah, even they had like house plants in the windowsill. All of those, 75% of that died too. I don't know.
How many people were living in this one bedroom apartment?
Well, the good news is it's yours now. So you can do whatever you want with it.
Oh, thanks. I think I'll destroy it.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, that tracks.
I think I'll destroy it, not think about how I'm destroying it, but wonder about what destroyed it for these other things beforehand. I'll wonder about what murdered the family here before me, while I also pull the battery out of my carbon monoxide detector and turn on the gas stove.
Yeah. See, this analogy is really good.
It actually came back around on me. Yeah, it actually works really well. This is cool. I mean, I love that we're still finding out new things about this.
It's fascinating to me. Like, it really makes it clear, and I'm surprised at how much we are able to put together. You know, I remember when I was in grade school, it was a mystery, right? It was a big mystery of like, we don't know. Maybe it was an asteroid. Jeff
would buckle a strap around his books.
Yeah.
Get his stick and hoop, and he would skip to school.
And I'd wonder about the dinosaurs.
I remember when we found out there were feathers.
Yeah. And colorful.
Man,
yeah.
That just made dinosaurs even cooler to me. The feathers made them even better.
Yeah,
I know a lot of people were like, no, I want them to look like giant thunder lizard kaijus. And I'm like, nah, the feathers are good.
Yeah.
Actually, the feathers are, the fact that they're just big idiot birds makes them even better. I love that even more.
Yeah. We need an update to Jurassic Park, though. I want bird Jurassic Park, you know?
I know.
Feather Park.
Hey, and you know what else I want? You fucking cowards. Give the girl dinosaur powers.
Oh yeah, well we went over this. They're not giving the girl dinosaur powers.
Give the girl dinosaur powers. Okay.
I mean, I know they set up the fact that she would have dinosaur powers.
They strap guns to a raptor.
I know.
It's time to give the girl dinosaur powers.
But what
if
would
you
that
agree
even
with
be?
me.
What's a dinosaur power? That she has like stubby little arms that she can't do anything with? I don't know what a dinosaur power is.
Maybe she can jump a lot, or she can like tear through things. I don't know.
She's got like really strong jaw muscles.
Yeah, give her a claw on the back of her foot that she can tear people in half with.
All right.
Give the girl dinosaur powers, cowards. Listen, if you agree with me that this girl needs dinosaur powers, head to patreon.com/wehaveconcerns. What's over there? Is there some sort of a petition? Is there some sort of concerted campaign to give the girl in Jurassic World 3 dinosaur powers? No. That's where you can support the show. But if you believe in the same things that I do, you should support this show because this show reflects what you believe.
Exactly. And also, we need the money to pay up to Kevin Feige. Well, actually, first we go to James Cameron, then it goes to Kevin Feige.
First, we got to get past the Duplass. The Duplass is sort of the Kuiper belt of our careers right now.
We're low on the pyramid. Let's just say that.
We got to get our way up here. And if we could get you to give us $5, and then you can get 3 more people to give you $5, right? Then everybody's making money.
Then we're rich, and the girl has dinosaur powers.
Look, I know
everybody wins.
I know money's tight right now, and sometimes it's hard to give to a Patreon. But if you start your own Patreon to give to other people's Patreons, you see what I'm saying?
Yes.
You see where I'm coming from?
It works.
This is infinite money. This is the infinite money glitch. Okay?
Hello, friend.
I just pro-action replayed your life.
Nice.
Listen, it's not just infinite money. It's also early episodes, bonus audio, bonus video. There's a lot of stuff you can get, and you get access to the Discord, which is full of people that think that girl that should have dinosaur powers.
That's the #1 congregation site for folks that think that girl should have dinosaur powers.
Patreon.com/wehaveconcerns. I'm about to go. I'm clicking back and forth between 2 studies, Jeff. I'm clicking back and forth between 2 studies, and you tell me when to stop.
Ooh, we get to play science roulette. That's fun. All right, stop.
Okay.
What do we get?
Do you care?
I mean, I won't know what I missed out on, so no.
But you're interested.
I'm interested now. You've added drama to this whole process, and I think that was pretty cool of you.
What if I told you today's story was about ambivalence and you just failed?
Now I feel like I picked the wrong story.
That's okay. Listen, I care very strongly about that girl getting dinosaur powers. I can't be ambivalent about it.
Yeah.
But here's an interesting study that was released in the British Journal of Social Psychology. I like this study a lot for personal reasons. And that study says that ambivalent people who neither get excited nor distressed about things, people who just genuinely are like, make much less biased judgments overall. They are immune to cognitive bias.
Because why? Because they give a shit. They don't give a shit. They're just
they don't give a shit,
gonna tell it to you straight.
The cool kid in a leather jacket on a motorcycle don't care about nothing. You can't get that motherfucker. He wants all the information.
You're saying that a detached ennui, just sort of an aloof motherfucker, is our salvation. Is the way we climb out of this partisan bickering, this two-sidesing of everything. All we need is to not give a shit.
I hate to bring us back to the 90s because the 90s had some of the shittiest humor.
You're saying slackers were our salvation.
But listen, we've come around. We've said, no, it's not cool to not care. It's cool to care.
Right.
But guess what? It may be cool to care, but it causes a lot of problems.
So you're saying that in this war between the boomers and the millennials.
Oh, the millennials aren't even in it anymore, buddy. They're caught in the middle. It's the Zoomers now.
Well, but what I'm saying is the Gen Xers,
they don't matter.
Yours truly, we had it right all the time. Nobody talks about us because we don't care. We were just the slackers. We're just,
Well, nobody talks to you. Well, nobody
grunging.
talks to you because you're bitter and sarcastic. That's why nobody talks to the Gen Xers. Like, as somebody who's a day walker between the millennials and the Gen Xers, I gotta tell you, the fucking Gen Xers are exhausting.
Really? More than the millennials?
Exhausting.
I don't think so. I think we're exhausted. God. We're exhausted.
Oh, please. We're talking about the generation that gave us both Dennis Miller and Dennis Leary. You guys are exhausting.
Two Dennises.
The two Dennises, the two aloof assholes that, perhaps we're talking about right here. But no, I don't think we are because they're not ambivalent. They're angry.
Okay. Well, it sounds like you're not ambivalent about this either. You're angry.
A true ambivalence can be measured, Jeff, on the trait ambivalence scale. It's a thing.
How do we measure ambivalence? Yeah, this is from the research side of
we just kind of eyeball it.
The medical engineering headquarters, or MEH for short.
You know those old Warner Brothers cartoons where they pull out a tape measure and measure somebody, and it just says real piece of work.
Yeah.
Like they go to measure somebody and it says, what a maroon. You pull it out and the ambivalence scale is like, kind of ambivalent. That's the only measurement on the scale.
That's the only, yeah. It's like chill bro, or he's ambivalent.
So here's what's up. The professor of social and economic cognition at the University of Cologne, Iris K. Schneider, said, I think we live in a time where there is a lot of emphasis on strong opinions and having people who are very certain about their stances, which leads to division and polarization. Of course it does.
Yeah, of course. If you think you know and somebody else thinks they know and you disagree, then you fight. Yeah.
And very few people, want to do the research now, right? Because they have the strong opinion. What she actually says is that there seems to be very little room for the fact that big issues are always multifaceted.
Right.
There's always larger systemic things going on. You can't just have one clear-cut point about something.
Sure, but can you sum that up in like just a headline for me? Because I don't want to read the whole
Doctors hate this one weird trick to know the truth.
There you go.
There it is.
Now, if you put it in a top 10 list, now I'm interested.
So they said there's sort of a bias against ambivalence because it's seen as indecisiveness. It's seen as uncertainty. If you were to go onto social networks and you were to say, well, I don't really have an opinion on this because I don't really know, people would be like, you have to have an opinion. Like I've said that. I've been like, I don't really know what's going on with this, so I don't want to weigh in. And people are like, well, you have to know what's going on with this. How do you not know what's going on with this? And it's like, okay, well, it's not weakness and it's not naivete or anything like that. I'm not informed about the thing.
Right.
I'm not informed, so I don't have an opinion. So their goal with this study was to be like, hey, there is a benefit to being ambivalent. There can be a broader, more realistic view of the world when you are somebody who does not have a strong opinion on something until you know everything you need to know about it. You're removing your personal opinion. You're removing your emotional reaction. You're removing everything. And you're like, well, let me take a look at it. You know what I mean? And let me just say right away that there are some issues. I'm not advocating for ambivalence about everything. That's not what I'm doing here. If you think, if you're listening over your cool wireless earbuds right now, and you're like, Anthony, there are kids in cages, there's systemic racism, there's police, like, yes, 100%. There are some things that we cannot be ambivalent about, but we could learn more about things, and there are certain things that we could be ambivalent about, right? So what they did...
I think my knee-jerk already is that ambivalence seems like a pejorative already. You know, I feel like what we're really talking about is being dispassionate or agnostic, right? Is not having made up one's mind and not making up one's mind based on an emotional state, right?
Yeah.
Because I feel like ambivalence, I know ambivalence is technically saying that, but it does seem to connote a laziness or a lack of conviction, lack of engagement that feels like it's like just don't care or just don't put in the effort, you know, instead of what I think this is really talking about is don't adhere to something based on an emotional knee jerk.
Sure. But what you're saying right now, I think that definition has sort of become the definition, right?
Right.
Because this is exactly what we're talking about. We think of ambivalence as a pejorative. because we hear it all the time as a pejorative, and now we have these pejorative connotations around it. But ambivalence, like, and I do believe we can thank Gen X for that. I do believe we can.
So you're saying is we're bringing ambivalence back.
We're bringing ambivalence back. Yeah, ambivalence, like if you look at a mainline dictionary definition, is uncertainty as to which approach to follow.
Right.
Simultaneous and contradictory attitudes or feelings towards an object, person, or action. Right.
Right.
I don't know what to think. I got a lot of feelings about this, and none of them are conclusive. I'm ambivalent towards it. So what they wanted to do was they wanted to do a large study where they tried to see if people who are ambivalent about things are less likely to fall prey to cognitive biases. Okay, so they took 1,832 participants. Okay, and they gave them a psychological test that's, like I said, it's called the Trait Ambivalence Scale. It's been around for a while. And anybody who scored particularly, like they took a look and they grabbed people who scored particularly ambivalent. They grabbed people who scored not ambivalent. And then they kind of gave them additional tests and kind of asked for their opinions about things and gave them like long questionnaires and had them read, you know what I mean? And wanted to see.
God, it's got to be the worst questionnaire to give to anybody. You're sitting in a room with the most ambivalent people you could find, and you're just like, so, what should we have for lunch today?
Oh, I don't care. What are you into?
No, I'm just going to note that down. I mean, I guess we could have, I don't know, insanely hot Thai food. Does that sound good? Like in really hot?
Yeah, sure. That's what you want.
I'm just going to note that down. How about like the most bland toast I can find? Just a sandwich that's just toast.
Yeah, whatever's good.
Okay, just going to note that down. This is great. You want to sit in that chair, or do you want to sit in the couch over there? Are you good where we are?
I'm good, but do you need me to move?
I kind of want to shoot myself in the head. Are you okay with that? I feel like I want to shoot myself in the head.
I mean, it's your life, buddy. I don't know you. Do I still get my $50?
Yeah. Well, not ambivalent about one thing. Noting that down. Money.
That's a little rude. So they basically examined for a relationship between ambivalence and two main cognitive biases. Okay. So the first one is correspondence bias, which is known as fundamental attribution error, right? Which is, it's the reason politicians talk to us in stories and not facts. We overemphasize personality-based reasons for somebody's behavior rather than situational, right?
Sure.
It's the reasons that politicians talk to us in stories, but it's also the reason we think that the guy in the car ahead of us cut us off on purpose.
Yeah. Or there's that thing of I remember Understanding Comics, Scott McCloud's Understanding Comics. There's that sequence where he talks about you're driving in your car and someone bumps into the fender of your car and you go, he hit me.
Yeah. He hit me.
He hit me. You already are creating this narrative, personalizing this situation.
Yeah. This person's car accidentally hit my car.
Yeah, the two cars collided. He didn't hit you. There's no you involved.
The two cars accidentally ran into one another. No, he hit me.
He hit me.
They do this because they hate me. They do this because they don't want me to do this. Or flip-flop it. They do that because they're into me.
Right.
Right? Yeah. It has to do with you. And then the second one that they wanted to study for is self-serving bias. Self-serving bias has been a big one lately. Self-serving bias is all of your success comes from your hard work. Everybody else's success comes from luck and external factors. But also, so do your failures. When you succeed, it's you. When you fail, the world did it to you.
Right.
Right?
Yeah. It's not fair until it works out well for you. Mm-hmm. What does that sound like?
Because you put the work in.
Yeah, right. Yeah. but nobody else is.
I did it. Nobody else is working, but I did it. And so it's unfair because I'm working so hard that I don't get everything.
Right.
So those are the two things that they were looking for. And what they found were that people who scored higher on the ambivalence scale displayed lower levels of correspondence bias and self-serving bias. So the people who are ambivalent towards more things do think that person's car accidentally hit my car. They do think, hey, you win some, you lose some. I tried hard. It didn't happen for me this time. Happened a couple times ago.
It feels like a scientific way to get to like just sort of be more zen.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, don't hold on to things. Don't, let go of self. And
that is exactly what I took from it.
Yeah, it's sort of like this zen attitude of just sort of be.
Yeah. Like, hey.
Be.
Like, look, yesterday, everything at work went super well for you. Today, it didn't. You didn't work any less hard. It just didn't. Maybe you picked the wrong thing. Maybe somebody was in a bad mood. It's got nothing to do with you. It's just the world.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because the world is meh.
The world is meh.
It ain't great, but it ain't terrible. The world's fine.
Yeah.
It's
you
fine.
And meh.
I used to think of myself as a pretty ambivalent person. I don't think that anymore. But I do think the better traits of ambivalence, like you're talking about, are pretty zen and are things that we could pick up. And I think they're the things that people have the most problem with zen stuff too, which is like, but if you think everything's fine, then how do you feel like anything is great? Right. And it's like, okay.
But that is kind of the point.
That is kind of the point.
Yeah.
Everything
nothing
just
is
sort
great.
of is.
Yeah. Nothing is great and nothing is terrible. Everything just sort of is.
Everything sort of is. And if you choose to believe that everything is great, then cool. And that's great for you. And that's great for everything. But everything just sort of is. And you can put attach whatever meaning and subtext to it that you want.
I just think that the other edge of this double-edged sword, the potential bad interpretation of all this is don't care about other people. Is like, don't be invested in anything that has to do with anybody else. Just go about your day and be ambivalent. And I think that is problematic because you don't want ambivalence to be disengaged to the point of not giving a shit about anybody else.
No, I think this is more like, when I think of this, I think of like I think about the F. Scott Fitzgerald thing where, what is it? The sign of a first-rate intelligence is the ability to hold two different ideas in the mind at the same time.
Yeah. Right.
And still be able to function.
Yeah.
Like, that's what we're talking about right now. Like, when I look at online debate right now, it's not online debate. It's two strong opinions yelling at each other. Right.
Right.
And once again, I'm not talking about things like keeping kids in cages or police brutality. Like those things, it's okay to feel strongly about, and you should. But, these sort of, when you think about the word debate, I think about the word debate the same way I think about the word ambivalent. If you're on the high school debate team, or the college debate club, you don't necessarily believe in the side that you're debating.
Right.
You're given a side of an argument, and you say, okay, make that work. Show me the research for that side, right? And so, but be able to listen to the research from the other side as well. And I think that's sort of the thing that is lost here by not being able to be ambivalent about. I would say that this is a sort of a philosophy to take into account when you have no skin in the game. I think the thing right now is we believe we have skin in the game of every decision in the world. Right.
Yeah.
I posted a joke about the fucking Snyder Cut the other day, and you know what happens when you post a joke about the Snyder Cut.
You can't do that.
People yell and scream at you, and it's like, hey man, I don't like the movie you like. It's not a big deal.
Right.
I didn't call the movie that you like bullshit. I just said,
even
I
if
don't
you
like
did,
it.
who that's
And
something to
even
be
if I
truly
did-
ambivalent about.
And even if I did,
Yeah.
right? It's
Yeah.
okay. You don't have skin in every game.
Yeah,
Not
that is something
everything
to
is for
truly
you.
be ambivalent about, is the outcome of a movie that Warner Brothers spent $500 million on.
But we're in it, right? I mean, especially in what we do for a living. We're in it.
Yeah.
Right? You can't
Yeah.
make a video unless that video is, here are 5 reasons why WandaVision is the greatest fucking thing in the world.
Right.
Right? Or here are 5 reasons why WandaVision's fucking sucks. You
Yeah.
can't make the video that's like, hey, I watched WandaVision and I have a lot of thoughts about it. Some good, some bad, but I've got a really long, measured account of how I feel about WandaVision. Like, that doesn't work because everybody has skin in every game.
And you gotta tweak those emotional centers of the brain in order to get people to respond. Because
I love
everything,
Marvel
there's so
or
much,
I hate Marvel. And so
Yeah.
if you want me to watch your video, you better love Marvel or hate Marvel. So I'll either agree with you or hate watch it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I just think that the term ambivalence has too many negative connotations, but I think in spirit, I'm behind this. And I like that scientifically it bears out, right? People that haven't made up their mind are actually more open-minded is an interesting position to see data on, you know? Because oftentimes, you know, we talk about like elections and things where it's like, oh, you know, there's these undecideds. It's like, who could possibly be undecided? Usually you feel like, well, those people are just uninformed and disengaged and probably terrible people. But one hopes that it actually means that they are weighing the things in their mind, that this ambivalence is an ongoing potentiality that's happening in their head of like, oh, I'm looking at all the states and I'm wondering, not the United States, but you know what I mean? The states of being, the states of the argument. And I may come down on one side or another based on an actual dispassionate view of facts.
Yeah, I find that
it's like stoicism, really.
Yeah, it's a little bit like stoicism, although while stoicism has not yet gained a negative connotation, I feel like it's on its way just because of all the fucking neckbeards that are into stoicism on YouTube and in the newsletters right now. But stoicism in measures is good. But yeah, I think about it sort of in those terms where it's like, I get asked a lot when I'm working on a creative project, like, sometimes I'll get asked like, how do you feel about this? And if I don't have a feeling, if 2 people are arguing like over a creative decision and I don't have a feeling, I go, I don't feel one way or the other about it. Yeah. I'm like, I think they're both good. And they're like, well, we're trying to decide on one. I was like, yeah, but they both work equally. Yeah. So, and people kind of get mad at me about that. Right. Because you can be seen as wishy-washy or trying to stay out of something. And that's one of the things that they talked about in this article is like, hey, ambivalence can make people uncomfortable. That's the downside of adding more ambivalence to your life. And you sort of need to know when somebody is reaching out to you on an emotional level about a decision, and you have to learn how to engage with that emotion. You have to say, instead of, I think both of those ideas are equally good, you can say, listen, I love both these ideas. I can tell that the 2 of you feel very strongly about your ideas. Can you please let me know what your concerns are about using the other idea? Or, you know what I mean? Like, you have to make sure that you understand, like, that you are giving people what they need when they are being emotional about a decision, because it's not wrong to be emotional about a decision. That's not what we're saying. But you need to be able to be like, okay, I can tell that this is an emotional decision. How can I help without having an opinion yet?
Let your ambivalence guide them.
Let your ambivalence guide the way. Luke, you must choose a side or don't, you know? It's like that famous, you must choose a side or don't. Yeah. You know? Because like whatever.
Use the Force, Luke, to just hear everybody out.
Yeah. I don't know. I bet a lot of those stormtroopers have families. You know what I mean? Maybe they were recruited in high school. That happens a lot to stormtroopers.
It's a disturbing connotation of the third movie that stormtroopers all are people. They're just people that we've mowed down by the thousands, really.
Yeah.
Disturbing.
It's disturbing. It is a disturbance, and it is disturbing. And I don't know, choose a side or don't. It seems real messed up. But yeah, they do say if you're looking to find yourself, if you find yourself making a lot of emotional decisions, or if you find yourself jumping to conclusions, or even if you find yourself being more ambivalent than you would like to, something that people don't do enough is like just sit before you make a decision and make a pros and cons list. If you are so like, no, I feel this way and there's no other way to feel, well, you know that can't be right. Sit and make a pros and cons list, and you may find that there are sides of the thing that you didn't consider. Likewise, if you're having a hard time making a decision because you are so ambivalent, sit and make the list and look at it and be like, oh, it turns out that because I thought of more pros than cons, there either are more pros than cons rationally, or my brain is telling me that I'm feeling more I feel like this is more of a positive thing than a negative thing.
Can I be honest? That procedure's never really worked well for me, because I don't think that I've never felt that every pro and every con are equally weighted.
No.
Right? So when you have this list and you're like, well, on one side, I'll never see my family or anyone I ever loved again. And the other side, like, lunch is expensive. And it's like, well, those are 2 bullet points.
Yeah. But
one of them is much heavier than the other,
What was this decision where you had to choose between ever seeing your family again or having a very expensive lunch?
It was that time where I thought maybe I'd leave, fake my own death, in order to, taste a Michelin star rated restaurant.
But I feel like but this is the thing. That's a false dichotomy, Jeff. I feel like you could have just gone to the restaurant.
Oh, my family would never stand for that.
They'd never. My wife and children looked me in the eye and they said, "Daddy, we will never eat anything that got a Michelin star."
That's right. That's why they're not ambivalent about it at all.
No.
Very, very, very.
They're like, Daddy, we don't care. Point. We don't care what you do with the rest of your life. But
as
there's
long as
one
it's
thing.
Mac and cheese for the rest of your days.
This is like that. This is like that scary story to tell in the dark where it's like, you can do anything you want and I'll live with you for the rest of your life and I'll love you forever, but don't pull the ribbon off my neck. If you pull the ribbon, this is like if you ate at a Michelin star restaurant, your family would turn into gargoyles or something.
Yeah. Yeah. That was the deal with the devil we made.
Well, are you going to do it?
I mean, I've always wondered, how good can the food be?
Oh man, it's, you wouldn't believe it's real good.
You're saying like it's better than mac and cheese.
My dude, sometimes they have mac and cheese, but it's like really good mac and cheese.
What?
Like better than you've ever had. I say, let your family turn back into gargoyles.
Well, what if I just fake my own death? I mean, I wrote up this list of pros and cons.
It's a curse.
They'll never know.
The moment you eat, it'll happen anyway.
But maybe that old crone that put the curse on my family will never know.
The one I hit with my Yaris?
Yes.
I don't think you have to worry about her anymore. Folks, these are the jokes, and they go all the way back. They go all the way back to the beginning of the feed. To Key and Peele mostly. Every joke we've ever made, we've stolen from Key and Peele, and we're not sorry. And we still are going to remind you to head to our Patreon, patreon.com/wehaveconcerns.
Those guys are brilliant.
They're brilliant.
And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, they're both patrons. I think they're both patrons of our show.
That's right.
Patreon.com/wehaveconcerns. You can get all kinds of really fun, wonderful things. We already enumerated them earlier in the show. But, it's just this is the part where we reiterate it because it's worthwhile. Do it right now. Close your whatever it is you're listening to this on. Click over there to patreon.com.
Probably a mini disc player.
Yes. Yeah. Close out your mini disc player. Eject the mini disc. Pop it into your pocket for safekeeping.
Yeah.
And then head over there to the old web browser. Get on the old Netscape.
Yeah.
Fire it up.
Yeah. Great. I love that. We should make the podcast available on Hit Clips. If there was a way to put the podcast onto a hip clip, like
Yeah.
3 minutes of the podcast onto a hit clip.
That would be so rad. Hey,
If anybody knows how we could put the podcast onto a hit clip, hit us up.